So how much do realtors actually make when we sell an average, everyday, regular house? The kind of houses that are in your neighborhood, not that stuff you see on HGTV or the $1 million listing or the selling whatever to whoever somehow properties, but the regular ones. Across the United States, the average house sells for about $400,000. So today, I'm going to break open the book and give you one of my transactions and show you how much money I actually made when I sold the property. So for those of you who don't know, my name is John Trigg. I'm the Montco Realtor, and I sell real estate here in Montgomery County, PA, Bucks County, Philadelphia County, Chester County, Delaware County as well, but mostly Montgomery County. If you're ever in the area, look me up. We'll go out and talk houses. But for today, we're talking about agent commissions. Are we overpaid or are we fairly paid? I'm going to let you determine it after I tell you all the details on one of my recent transactions. Now, a couple things to note. Number one, this is only my experience. Every brokerage pays a little bit different, and I'll explain that as we go through a little. This is just my specific scenario, but I'll lay that out for you and hopefully make it a little bit easier to understand. The second thing is this is based on the commission that I utilized, which on this property, I was the listing agent and it sold for $400,000. And I charged a 2.5% commission on it. Now, nationally, the average is around 2.65, 2.7. I did 2.5, which is pretty common. So that's what the numbers are based on. All right, let's get into it. So this particular house I sold for $400,000. So the commission was a nice round $10,000. But that's not what I got paid. Now, let me also preface this and say that every brokerage pays differently. So there's two main systems that realtors work under. One is a standardized split and one is a cap and split. So a standardized split would be as if you and your broker switched or had an agreement of a 50-50 payment. So I get half, you get half. So on that $10,000, I would keep 5 and my broker would keep 5. See, real estate's one of those interesting businesses where we actually pay to have a job. Say that again. Very strange. I don't know too many others that do it, but we do. Now, 50-50 is pretty rare. Usually you see a 60-40, 70-30, or 80-20, or 90-10, depending on the level of business that you have established and your seniority level within the area. The other system, which is the one I'm under, is a cap and split. Now, a cap is where you have to pay in a certain amount of money each year towards the brokerage, and you split the money up to that. So, for example, my cap is $25,000. So once I've paid my broker $25,000, I then get to keep 100% of my commissions. But prior to that, it's a 70-30 split with me keeping 70 and my broker keeping 30. $3,000 comes right off the top. So my $10,000 is now down to $7,000. Now we can start talking about the expenses that went into actually making that money. So the first expense I pay that everybody should pay is to the taxes. And I generally pay a little bit higher than I need to. So on this transaction for the $7,000 I was getting paid, I set aside $1,750 for taxes. The second biggest thing I pay and is well worth the money is to my transaction coordinator, and I paid her $600. If you're an agent, you know that TC is one of the most important people in the role because they keep everything on time. So my next expense was for photography and videography, which was $200. Then the open house condiments, and this one was about $150. And that's your food, your drinks, your snacks, etc. I spent $200 on social media ads and Facebook ads, etc. Promotional things just to let people know we have an open house, we have a property here. My desk fee. My desk fee at my office is $125 a month. Now, I know you would think that that gets covered with the whole cap thing, but it doesn't. It's a separate fee, and I generally charge myself the desk fee on every deal that I do. The last thing I had to pay out was my closing gift for my client, which was $100. All right, so I threw a lot of numbers at you. We started at $10,000. First number that came off the top was my broker's percentage, which was $3,000, dropped us to $7,000. And then all my expenses together, which I listed out, they totaled $3,125 off the $7,000. So my actual commission on this transaction, $400,000 house that was sold, was $3,875. I did have some expenses, but what I did not include is what I pay in for my errors and omission insurance on every transaction. I didn't put in any gas or mileage or car. I didn't put in cell phone fees. I didn't put in my generalized marketing fees that I spend every month. I didn't put in my administrative assistant fees. Those are going to go in a whole separate video. I have a year-long expense video I'm going to do for you guys later. This is just things that went specifically to this property. It's important to note this transaction actually took 2 months to close. That's the first thing. The second thing is the average realtor, keep in mind, only sells between 6 and maybe 10 properties in any given year on the high side. So there's not a lot of transactions. It's not like we do this every week. The average realtor sells less than one house per month. $400,000 property, and I brought back $3,875. What a lot of people don't see is it took over 100 hours of actual work that went into it. There was over 200 emails, more than 250 text messages, over 50 phone calls, Zoom calls, conference calls, etc. And you may be wondering, who are you talking to? Why are you talking to so many people? And what's it all about? Who are you people? In an average transaction, every week, I'll talk to the following. Transaction coordinator on my side, of course, the transaction coordinator for the buyer's side, the buyer's agent, the buyer's agent's assistant sometimes, my assistant, my sellers who I talk to 2 to 3 times a week, the title company, inspectors, the appraisers, the lenders, the underwriters. There's a lot of people that go into the process that you might not think of, which is good. You shouldn't think of them. If you're selling a house or buying a house, you shouldn't know about any of this stuff. This should never, ever reach your plate, except for the inspectors and appraisers, because you have to schedule them if you're the buyer. But these are the things that we do on the backside that supports you. These are the things we do to make sure that everything is done legally to protect you. So you should never know about this stuff. But all in all, it was about 106 or 107 hours total. Let's just round it down to 100. So on this deal, $400,000 sale price, I actually ended up making just over $38 an hour. So the question is to you, are we overpaid? Are we paid fairly? Are we underpaid? What's your opinion? Put it down below. I'm also curious if you have bought or sold a house or invested in a property. What was your experience? Would you use that agent again? Did you like what they did? Do you feel like they represented you fairly and adequately and did a good job? Drop those comments down below as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm John Trigg, the Montco Realtor. See you next time.